Hello YouTube, my name is Sebastian and welcome to a camera system tutorial. Today we're going to make a camera system. You'll see it right here on the screen. There's a red dot, that's the player. The player can move around, not very smoothly, but the camera follows. So this is a very simple system that we're going to make today. Just a camera that can follow an object, or it can actually follow any coordinates you give to it and it'll focus on those. So yeah, let's get to it. I'll just close this down. I have all the code ready for the camera. So we're just going to go through it. It's super simple. I'm just going to go through it, explain it. It's going to be fast. You'll get it fast. Okay, first of all, the player is just a basic player who got some code to move. But the camera. For the create event, we have a width and a height. I've said you can set these to whatever you want. I've set this to the width to 320 and the height to 180. Then I have a variable called the half width, which is half the width, so that's just the width divided by 2. And the half height, which is the same just with the height. Then we have a scale variable. This is how much you want to scale up the screen, like, because if it's just like the scale is 1, then you'll get a window the size of the width, which will be like 320 pixels by 180 pixels, which is very small on the screen. So the scale will scale it up, but it's a multiplier, so it'll be 3 times bigger, whatever. Then we have the alarm 0. We set that to 1. I'm going to go over that a little bit later why we set this to 1, but just bear with me. Alarm 0 is set to 1, and then we have 2 variables, target X and target Y, both set to 0. And these variables right here is basically the target of the camera where it'll focus. Okay? So just remember that. The target X and target Y are the X and Y coordinates of where the camera will focus. So after the create event, we're going to look at the room start event. So this right here is basically, it's going to run every time the room starts. So every time you go into a new room of your game, this is going to run. And this is basically setting up the camera every time. So first of all, we're going to set view enabled equal to true. This will make sure that the view is actually enabled. It makes sense. If it's not enabled, you won't be able to use it. Next, we're going to set view visible. View set visible. We're going to set the view. We're choosing view 0. That's the one we're going to use for our main camera. And then we're going to set it visible to true. So we're making sure that our view 0 is true. Then we're going to use the camera create function. So you're going to write cam equals camera create. Just that. That basically creates a camera and stores the ID of this camera in the variable called cam. So we're creating a camera with camera create, and then we're storing it in the variable cam. Okay. Next, we're gonna set the camera to or the view to the camera. So we're gonna assign this camera to the view 0. So we're gonna say view set camera. We're assigning the camera to the view. Okay. Next up, what we do after we've assigned it, we're gonna say camera set view size. So we're gonna make. This is where we get the width and the height. So we're going to say camera set view size, and then the camera, we're going to use view camera 0. This is the safe way to do it. You can use just the cam keyword in here instead. It'll work the same, but using view camera 0 will always work. Or it'll work a lot better at least. I'm not sure if it'll always work. Don't take my word for that. But view camera 0 is what we're going to use here. So view camera bracket 0. And then we're going to pass in the width and the height. So this is the width and the height of the view that we want. So this is basically resizing the view. And then what we're going to do is we're setting alarm 0 to be equal to 1. So in the alarm 0 event here, what we got is we got the surface resize, and then we resize the application surface to the width and the height. So the application surface, that is basically, you can think about it like a canvas from arts, like when you're painting canvas, and the application surface is your game's canvas that all the sprites get drawn onto and get shown to the player. So what we're basically doing is we are resizing our application surface to match the width and the height of the view. If you don't match them, they will become skewed or stretched, look weird. You can, if you want to, scale them up with like multiplying them. So as long as the width and the height have the same ratio as your view, then it won't be stretched. So you can do, the application surface can be half the width, half the height, can be double, triple, whatever you want. But usually you just want to set it to the same as the view, the width and the height. Especially if you're making pixel art games, that is. So just set it to with the width and the height. Then after that, we're going to set the size of the Gui layer, which is basically where all your UI, it's the graphical user interface, is where you show all the UI to the player. And this, yeah, you basically just set the size of that to be equal to the width and the height as well of the game. It's pretty self-explanatory there. And then we have a check right here. So basically, I'll just write this so it might be a little bit easier to read. So if we're checking here if the window is not in full screen, so if we're not playing in full screen, then we're going to set the window size to be the width times the scale and the height times the scale. So this is basically what takes the window on that you actually see on the monitor and scales it up to whatever scale we have. Then we have alarm 1 equal to 1, so we're going to activate alarm 1 like the next frame. And in alarm 1, this is basically just calling window center, which just centers the window into the middle of the screen so it looks neat. Then we've got the step event. This is where the target X and target Y come into play. We're just setting our X position equal to target X and Y equal to target Y. That is because you could use just target X and target Y. You don't have to set the X position, but I'm setting it up this way because I want to do some more tutorials a bit later on that expand on this camera system to make it more versatile. This is very basic, but I'm going to make it a lot more smooth and have more features later on, and this is just a small preparation for that. So basically just X equals target X, Y equals target Y. That's all in the step event. Then in the end step event, we have a 2 lines here where we create local variables. We have XX and YY. The XX is equal to the X position, which is equal to the target X. So essentially target X minus half the width of the size of our view, and the same with the Y, that's just minus half the height. And the reason we're doing this, if you when you set the view position, which we're doing right here, we're setting the view position, we're setting view camera 0 to the XX and the YY. If you just, it'll set the position. If you just say put in a coordinate, let's say you put it at 10, 10, then the view, what will be set is basically the corner, the left corner, the top left corner. I don't know if this is the top left corner for you. It's for me, this is the top left corner. So if you have the view here, then this is what will get set to 10, 10. So basically we're subtracting half the width to get in the middle of the horizontal line, then subtracting half the width or the height to get in the middle, the center of the view. So instead of setting the corner point to the location, the target, then we set the middle, so it focuses in the middle on the target, and that's what this does. So camera set view position, view camera 0, give it the XX and the YY variable. Bleh, can't speak. I'm sorry. So that's what this does basically. So it basically takes, if this is, it moves the view to the left and up a bit. That's what it does to center it. Okay. The last thing we're going to look at is the room end in here. We're just going to say if you get camera 0, so if view camera, if the view 0 has a camera, then we're going to destroy that camera. So this is just going to happen at the end of every room, because at the start of every room we're going to create the camera again. I've tried different methods that haven't quite worked very well for me. This is the one that I found worked the best, with most consistency. So this is a really great way of doing it, in my experience. So just put this in the room end event. I'm gonna have, like, all the code is gonna be in the description, like links to it, so you can just copy paste it, you don't have to type it out. But if you get camera 0, camera destroy view camera 0. Pretty simple. So that's all for the camera object. This will make the camera object move and follow whatever target you give it, which brings me to how do you actually do this. So for example, usually you'd probably have a controller object that controls the target of the camera, but what I'm doing right here in the player event, I'm just saying camera.target X equals our X and the target Y equals Y. So basically this just sets the target X to being the player X position and the target Y to being the Y position. That's what made it follow. You could do something else instead. If I just comment this out here, what I could do is do O camera dot target X plus equals, let's say 2. So this basically will just move the X coordinate off to the right. So let's try and run that and just see how this works. Yeah, so actually, you actually saw the black bars. That was because of resetting. So right now it's just going to the right endlessly, and that's what that does. So that was it for this video. I hope you found this useful and can use it in your own games. Next up, we're going to tune it in a little bit more. We're going to make it especially this camera system that I'm going to make is going to work very well for shooters, top-down shooters or platform shooters are both going to work very well where you use the mouse. But it can also be used for a lot of other things because we are going to add other features also. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did and you want to see more and get the updates for whenever we're expanding in this, you can hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon or whatever that is, and you'll get notifications for whenever the next one is out. If you have any questions, just write to me in the comments. I'll answer them as fast as I can. And just remember to have a really nice day. That's it from here. Goodbye.